A mega Mirror Now expose on the eve of the anti-black money day. Mirror Now investigations just reveal that people are still parking unaccounted cash in safe havens like gold. The gold business is openly aiding and abetting them. Take a look at what Mirror Now's Aishwarya Paliwal found when she went shopping for gold with only cash.
Mirror Now set out with a sum of about 20 lakh rupees. Cash which we attempted to park in gold. We expected in the post-demonetization era to be turned away, to be asked for documentation. What we found instead shocked us and will shock you.
बिल चाहिए नहीं चाहिए आपके ऊपर नहीं चाहिए कोई बात नहीं हॉलमार्क देख के तो 50 लिख के दे दूँगा.
Keep your money at home also. That also no problem. You don't want to carry so much. Keep it at home. You'll send a man to collect it.
So you will not get a bill. Means your name will not be known.
Jewelers in one of India's biggest and busiest gold markets were openly willing to transact in cash. In fact, our reporter was openly told that 20 lakh is a small amount.
Even if it goes to 20 lakhs?
Yeah, no problem.
And I don't want a bill. Is it okay?
No GST.
ये 2000 में ही बोल रहे हो उनका उनसे बात कर रही हूँ.
Anything I'll have to give from my side at the time? Nothing. Nothing.
Across shops, we found jewelers willing to accept cash on one condition only, that we do not ask for a bill.
What I'm trying to say is, like, you know how you get a salary, you already get taxes deducted at source, right? So now whether you spend it in cash or not, they are not bothered. So the gold is already taxed, so they are not bothered now at the point of sale who has bought it. They have already paid the tax. So the price is inclusive of tax.
Okay.
It's just that your name will not come.
If I pay cash, my name will not come. And anything else necessary here, no. I don't, because I just want to come, give you cash.
You have to select the design and place the order.
Just that, select the design, place the order.
Or if you want ready, you can buy ready also.
We were told that the practice of buying gold for cash without a bill was rampant.
Mode of payment. Okay, हमारे पास है cash.
कैश मिल जाएगा.
कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन वगैरह तो नहीं है ना कैश पे? कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन तो नहीं है ना कैश पे?
बिल लेंगे तो है, बाकी तो आपको पैन कार्ड वगैरह देना, बाकी तो कुछ भी नहीं है. बिल नहीं लेंगे तो नहीं. बिल लेंगे तो 3% GST है. नहीं लेंगे तो आपको कुछ भी देना नहीं पड़ेगा. हॉलमार्क चेक करके लेने का तो फायदा.
हाँ, मुझे बस प्योरिटी चाहिए.
प्योरिटी होगा. अभी ये सभी जो हॉलमार्क किया हुआ है, सभी जो देख रहे सब हॉलमार्क है. 22 कैरेट हॉलमार्क है. बिल चाहिए नहीं चाहिए आपके ऊपर नहीं चाहिए कोई बात नहीं. हॉलमार्क देख के तो 50 लिख के दे दूँगा. वो वैसे ही लेके जाते साइकिल जी वैसे ही लेके जाते.
And what's more, we were even given an explanation why it is easier for smaller shops to take cash for gold.
Some people they insist because they make bill on that, you know. Because what happens, people do this some shops, but they don't sell without bill. That's why they asked a card and all that.
Okay, that is the reason.
Because the bosses are sitting not in the shop, so all the staffs are sitting, so they cannot sell without bill. So because if staff is weighing the gold and she's selling or he's selling, how do the boss knows what amount came? Suppose you pay 14, you say the client will pay 14, 10. So that's why they make a bill. That guy is sitting at Nariman Point. Shop is here. Shop is at Bandra. Even chain stores and all that, they do all this. So they don't sell without bill. So you lose GST and you pay a card and then you come in the light picture, no? That you are paying so much gold.
In fact, if you have enough cash, the gold will be home delivered, so that you don't have to travel with large bundles of cash.
But I can come with cash pay without anything.
Yeah, no problem. I'll make arrangement for that. Don't worry. Keep your money at home also. That also no problem. You don't want to carry so much. Keep it at home. You'll send a man to collect it.
All this even as the government gears up to mark the anniversary of demonetization as Anti-Black Money Day, reiterating one of the goals spelled out by Prime Minister exactly a year ago.
Number of individual tax assessees, उसकी संख्या नॉर्मल की तुलना में बढ़ने लगी. डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शंस बढ़े हैं. हाई डिनोमिनेशनल करेंसी कुछ मात्रा में स्क्वीज की गई है. टेरर फंडिंग के ऊपर एक बड़ा स्क्वीज लगा है.
The government, promising a sustained crackdown on unaccounted cash transactions, had tightened norms. Documentation was to be mandatory for any big-ticket transaction in yellow metal. But as jeweler after jeweler painstakingly pointed out to us, if we paid cash, they would not ask for PAN or Aadhaar.
But if I want to make the payment in cash, is it possible?
Yes.
That is possible. Because this is the amount that I am looking at plus 5. Because there are 5 to 6 sets, 2 which we have to give to.
Yeah.
That was.
Because, see, you can pay cash because the gold is already taxed. When you buy it, it's already taxed. Understand? Just your name will not go. We make bills. So that is okay.
I don't want the bill.
Yeah, so you will not get a bill. Means your name will not be known.
Now, exactly a year back, demonetization had sucked 86% currency out of the system. The promise made by the government at that point was that they want a squeaky clean economy with no trace of black money. Now, 1 year later, when we went on ground to check whether black money is thriving or not, what we found out shocked us. Black money is indeed thriving. We have clinching evidence on camera where you can buy gold for black money. And the jewelers are so comfortable with this system that they do not ask you for any kind of documentation. If you have lakhs and lakhs of rupees that you want to spend, go to any shop, buy gold, no questions asked. Now we are asking a simple question. Why did the Indian people stand in queues? Why did India become a nation of queues if black money is still thriving 1 year after demonetization took place? Aishwarya Paliwal for Mirror Now.
Well, that's a big expose we're bringing you here on Mirror Now this evening, on the eve of the 1 year anniversary of demonetization, where jewelers are openly, in broad daylight, willing to take as much cash as you want to offer them in return for gold, which means that if there are still people in our country with suitcases full of cash that is obviously ill-begotten, you can easily today exchange it for gold. What did all of this demonetization and the pain that came with it add up to? What have we achieved? That's the question we are asking all day today on Mirror Now. Our phone lines are also open and you can reach us if you have an opinion. Joining me on the show right now, Ved Jain, former chairperson of the ICAI, Sujay Kantawal as a senior lawyer, and Aishwarya Paliwal, the reporter at Mirror Now who broke that big story. I welcome all of you to this conversation. I'm going to start with Aishwarya. Aishwarya, you went to various shops. How comfortable were these jewelers with the idea of accepting large amounts of cash in suitcases?
Where they were extremely comfortable. So you walk into a showroom, you choose maybe 2 or 3 pieces, you tell them your requirement, and the next question that they ask is, how would you like to pay? Would you like to pay in cash or card? And the moment you say cash, they are like, okay, fine. You know, not an iota of doubt in their mind whether they want to do this or they don't want to do this. And when you talk about documentation, they tell you that there is no need for a documentation. The next question they'll ask you is, do you want a bill or you don't want a bill? Now, I was expecting the moment I say that I don't want a bill, they might say, okay, furbish your PAN card or your Aadhaar card or some kind of documentation. They asked for none. They said, okay, fine, if you do not want a bill, you tell me the sets that you want. One of them even went ahead and said that if you have a lot of cash and you don't want to carry the cash, I'll send a person to your place, we'll collect cash from your doorstep.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you're telling us that these gold showrooms were willing to home deliver jewelry and pick up the cash from your doorstep, because obviously they understand that good customers will not want to travel with suitcases or briefcases of cash.
Yes, that's exactly what that shopkeeper told me, that if you do not want to travel with a lot of money, you tell me your address, you choose the pieces right now, I will home deliver those pieces, my man will be there at your doorstep, he will pick up the cash and the delivery would be done.
And was there a limit that, they were comfortable with? Did they talk about a certain amount of money, or was it any amount of money at all?
No, any amount of money, because the limit that I had set for them was 20 lakhs initially. And then I said, because there's a wedding in the family, other cousins might also want to purchase something and this amount might go up drastically. One line answer which I got from all the shopkeepers was, cash is not a problem, madam. जितना आप देना चाहें उतने का हम आपको सामान दे देंगे. You only need to like the pieces that we are giving you. If you like our pieces, if you think that the gold is good quality, you can give us as much cash as you want. We'll not even ask you for your PAN card, your Aadhaar card, no documentation. We'll not even give you a bill if you do not want a bill.
But you know, Aishwarya, I think this is a brilliant story, and like several of the other stories that you've done in the past, it lends such a great value to the country. This is what journalism is about. But let me bring in Ved Jain, the former chairman of the ICAI, a tax expert who's been kind enough to give us his time. Mr. Jain, thank you so much for joining us. I want you to help us understand here. Our reporter has come back with spy camera footage of various jewelers in Zaveri Bazaar who are very happy to sell gold for zero paper trail at all. They said, we will not give you a bill, we'll give you a kacha bill. There will be no bill, there will be no transaction trail at all. You don't have to give us any documentation, and we will pick up the cash from your house irrespective of how much cash we're talking about. What does this mean, Mr. Jain? What are the rules that are being broken right now here as far as the Prevention of Money Laundering Act is concerned? What does this mean in terms of black money if there are shops willing to exchange gold for cash in this amount?
This is an unfortunate scenario which our reporter has been able to capture it. This is the business of the gold and the jewelry where people do a lot of cash transactions. And as far as the rules are concerned, the law provides that not more than 2 lakh rupees and more than 2 lakh rupees cannot be transacted in cash. So there can't be any cash sales of 2 lakh rupees or more. And that's the law which is mandated that for a jeweler when he is selling gold to obtain the PAN or identity of the person. And that's the important thing which he has violated. You will recall that somewhere after the introduction of the GST in the month of July, a law was amended by issuing a regulation that more than 50,000 rupees, the jewelers are supposed to obtain the identity KYC norms of the customer. And in case there is a violation of this, that offense was included in the scheduled offense under the Prevention of the Money Laundering Act. But with the GST running into trouble and the many issues coming up, and jewelers protesting on the application of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act on their jewelry transaction, that circular was withdrawn, I believe, 1 month back, retrospectively. So now up to till date, the law today is now that up to 2 lakh rupees you can make sales in cash, and beyond rupees 2 lakh you cannot make sales in cash. Now, as I heard your reporter getting this in the sting operation that the jewelers are offering jewelry of more than 2 lakh rupees, also even 20 lakh rupees, and they are advising client that they will split the bill of less than rupees 2 lakh each, even if it's a small item which is, say, earring, the tops, etc., which is more than 2 lakh rupees, how that bill is going to be split. That's an unfortunate scenario which people and which some unscrupulous, I will say, people use the loophole in the law, because the law cannot be so, I will say, to mean the threshold limit which can go beyond rupees 2 lakh. If the government says no transaction in cash, the problem is then the day-to-day transaction get affected. Now the government has kept a threshold limit of rupees 2 lakh, and that is being exploited by these unscrupulous businessmen. They're trying to work out yet how they get business. Now, it's one way, look at from the business perspective, they don't want to lose the business. The customer is not interested in giving the name. If they refuse it, somebody else will oblige. So that's one of the business compulsion I can understand. But at the same time, it is a violation of the law, and that's an unfortunate scenario. The law today mandates that transaction of 2 lakh rupees or more cannot be in cash unless there is a KYC norm and you fulfill the norms, etc.
In fact, let me ask Aishwarya this. Aishwarya, you obviously went to Zaveri Bazaar in Mumbai, and you went from store to store. Mr. Ved Jain said a few unscrupulous people will do this. How often did you find people willing to do this? How many shops were willing to actually take cash without any sort of KYC details?
I went to 10 shops, Faye, and the first question after I chose a few pieces was that my mode of payment would be cash. Are you comfortable or not? 9 out of the 10 shop owners said yes, we will take cash. And I told them that my budget is 15 to 20 lakh rupees and more than 60% would be in cash. And the answer was yes.
And the answer was yes. And like you said, and I find this part of the conversation most interesting. the person who said, "We will pick up the cash from your house," was he suggesting that, I mean, what amount of cash were you talking about at that time? What was the suggestion, and how did a home pickup of cash come up?
So I told him that I wanted to purchase jewelry worth 20 lakh rupees. Then I told him my mother would be bringing the money because I don't have that kind of money with me right now. So he told me, why do you want to bother your mother? You know, if your mother is not able to travel with that much cash, it is okay. You select the pieces right now, you tell me which all pieces you want, you speak with your mother on the phone, you tell her the pieces that you like, you can maybe WhatsApp those images to her, and if she's okay with it, you pay me a token amount right now, you give me your address, I'll tell you the day and the time when my boy will come with all those pieces, and then we'll take the cash from your home, because we don't want you to travel with that much cash. So the shopkeeper was okay with his guy coming to my home, picking up whatever amount it is. That point of time it was 20 lakh rupees.
And it seemed like this is something that these people do on a regular basis?
Yes, because most of them were very cool about it. They were very calm about it. This was nothing new. What I was expecting was maybe they would take at least 30 seconds before replying to this, or they would say, "Madam, at least show me some document. Tell me that you are from Mumbai, because I can go and I can pretend to be anyone else." But they didn't do any kind of background check.
In fact, let me play out some of the chunks that we have, and this is a clip of the first conversation Aishwarya had with one of these jewelers. Listen in.
अब मुझे आप ये बताओ कि
एक अन्नो दट्टे आती अन्नो नहीं है बीजे
मोड ऑफ पेमेंट ओके हमारे पास है कैश
कैश मिल जाएगा।
कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन वगैरह तो नहीं है ना कैश पे? कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन तो नहीं ना कैश पे?
बिल लेंगे तो है, बाकी तो आपको पैन कार्ड वगैरह देना, बाकी तो कुछ भी नहीं है। बिल नहीं लेंगे तो नहीं, बिल लेंगे तो 3% GST है, नहीं लेंगे तो आपको कुछ भी देना नहीं पड़ेगा। हॉलमार्क चेक करके लेने का तो फायदा।
हाँ, मुझे बस प्योरिटी चाहिए।
प्योरिटी होगा, ये सभी जो हॉलमार्क किया हुआ है, सभी जो देख रहे सब हॉलमार्क है, 22 कैरेट हॉलमार्क है। बिल चाहिए नहीं चाहिए आपके ऊपर? नहीं चाहिए तो कोई बात नहीं, हॉलमार्क देख के तो 50 लिख के दे देंगे, वो वैसे ही लेके जाते हैं, साइकिल जी वैसे ही लेके जाते हैं। बिल चाहिए थोड़ा बहुत तो वो भी ले सकते हैं, GST देना पड़ेगा।
नहीं बिल नहीं चाहिए,
तो आपकी मर्जी है।
बिल नहीं चाहिए। तो मैं अगर 15 जो मैंने आपको बोला, अगर 15 आपको देना चाहूँ कैश में तो आप ले लेंगे?
दे सकते, कितना भी दे सकते।
Well, that was shopkeeper number 1 who said, as long as you take if you don't take a bill, then we will give you all of it in cash. You won't have to pay GST. Take a look at shopkeeper number 3 and you'll realize that between GST and demonetization, they're paying absolutely no tax whatsoever.
If I come some other day to finalize, but if I want to make the payment in cash, is it possible?
Yes.
That is possible, because this is the amount that I am looking at plus 5, because there are 5 to 6 sets, 2 which we have to give for that was
because, see, you can pay cash because the gold is already taxed. When we buy it, it's already taxed. Understand? Just your name will not come. We make bills. So that is okay.
I don't want the bill.
Yeah, so you will not get a bill. Means your name will not be known. That is. What I'm trying to say is, like, you know how you get a salary, you already get taxes deducted at source. Right. So now whether you spend it in cash or not, they are not bothered. So the gold is already taxed, so they are not bothered now at the point of sale who has bought it. They have already paid the tax. Okay. So the price is inclusive of tax. Okay. Yeah. It's just that your name will not come.
If I pay cash, my name will not come. And anything else necessary here, no. I don't, because I just want to come, give you cash.
You have to select the design and place the order.
Just that, select the design, place the order.
Or if you want ready, you can buy ready also.
Select the design, place the order and buy gold with cash for 20 lakh rupees, 30 lakh rupees, even more than that. You don't have to give your PAN card. You don't have to give any sort of identification. You don't have to pay any tax, no GST, no paper trail whatsoever. This looks like black money circulating through our economy, absolutely unchecked in broad daylight. Priyanka Chaturvedi joins us right now on the phone line. Ved Jain, former chairperson of the ICAI, is with us as well. I just have one quick question for Ved Jain. Priyanka, and I want you to respond to what Mr. Jain is going to say. Mr. Jain, this obviously is black money. If people are going to be buying gold for upwards of 30, 40, 50 lakh rupees in cash that is picked up from their homes, this right now, these gold shops are a place to launder black money in cash and turn it into gold. Is that not true?
This fact is a correct fact. Now, what I have seen from the sting operation, yes, many jewelers are offering and are facilitating. But one thing, please, you have to note it is a facilitation of the customer. The customer is inducing the businessman, yes, the jeweler, yes, I want to buy in cash. It's not a case where the customer, the jeweler is saying that I need the money in cash and I cannot take the money in check or in credit card. The customer goes to the jeweler and he says, yes, that I don't have the credit card, I don't have the check, and I have the cash. And since the jeweler doesn't want to lose business, and obviously the law is strict, 2 lakh rupees or more than you cannot do without KYC. So he is trying to facilitate or accommodate the customer by saying, yes, I can do a business with 15 lakh or 20 lakh or 25 lakh rupees. But all I need to do is make sure that the bill will be splitted so that there is no issue as regards the sale and the accepting cash of more than 2 lakh rupees is concerned. Because the law as on date permits up to 2 lakh rupees to be accepted in cash for the various person. Now, in case there is one customer, you cannot get more than 2 lakh rupees. And if you get 15 lakh rupees, you split it to 8 bills, then obviously the law has a loophole in that part. So what I get from the all sting operation, though all jewelers are going to facilitate, as I can see the many jewelers have agreed, but at each time Aishwarya itself was inducing and saying, no, I don't have the check, I don't have the credit card, will you accommodate me? So then the jeweler say, yes, I will accommodate you.
Well, Aishwarya is here, right here with us, but that's normally how that works. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Ved Jain, but someone who has large amounts of cash to get rid of is very likely to send family members to jewelry stores asking jewelers, will you accept cash because I'm not carrying my credit card at this point. Aishwarya, the question, of course, is did you force the jeweler to break the law? And I don't accept that, as a valid explanation, because nobody is forcing the jeweler to break the law. He has to just stand up and say, no, I will not do it. And they were jewelers. You said 9 out of 10 said yes, but one said no.
The one person who said no said, I will not do a transaction of more than 2 lakh rupees until and unless you show me documentation. The remaining 9 did not ask me for a single document. They said that you can come, choose the pieces that you like, and if you want cash, that is not an issue. If they did not want to do it, they could have asked me, Madam, show me. And if they did not want to do it, they could have said no.
They could have said no. Nobody forces anybody to break the law. Priyanka Chaturvedi, spokesperson of the Congress Party, joins us on the phone line. Priyanka, you've been listening in, from what I understand, to the conversation that's happening so far. Our reporter Aishwarya Paliwal went out jewelry shopping in Zaveri Bazaar in Mumbai and found most jewelry stores, 9 out of 10 jewelry stores that she visited, are willing to accept any amount of money in cash in return for gold. 15, 20, 30 lakh rupees that they're willing to pick up from your homes. Obviously, black money is not just alive, it's thriving.
So doesn't that speak of the entire failure of demonetization that the Prime Minister is celebrating, and the Finance Minister today through his press conference was talking big about and patting themselves on the back for the success of demonetization? So this is just an indicator of how the people in the country work. You give them a policy, they will find loopholes in the policy. The policy needs to be foolproof. It cannot be just a one-off solution. It has to be a sustained campaign against black money, which we do not see this government having envisioned or having a vision enough to be able to implement. So this speaks of the challenge of the government and its ability to be able to address this issue. For them, eradicating black money is only a poll plank, only a way to get more votes from the people of the country and try and establish themselves. There's no other intent that they seem to show as far as creating policies are concerned. It is extremely unfortunate, and I think this is something that the government of the day should look at and ask itself these questions. What are they celebrating tomorrow? 150 deaths, 2 percentage point drop in growth, a GDP growth rate, joblessness by the lakhs, and yet we celebrate demonetization, and yet we see an entire black money market out there, which you all have caught on your in your sting operations.
Let me bring in Krishna Sagar Rao, spokesperson of the BJP, who joins us as well. Priyanka, please stay with us because I know you'll want to respond to what Mr. Rao has to say. Mr. Rao, if you've heard the story we just played out, where Aishwarya Paliwal has gone out and shopped for jewelry and found that black money or cash is still widely accepted in lakhs, 10, 20, 15, 30 lakh rupees is being accepted in lieu of, for jewelry without any sort of paper trail, no bill, no PAN card, no credit card swipe, completely in cash. What does that tell us about the battle against corruption, the battle against black money? Where does that leave us?
See, Faye, it has been a good practice promoted by Congress in the last 70 years, out of which 60 years they have ruled this country. They have got unethical practices into the system so well that people don't even feel a pinch of pain or fear for law. They break the law as easy as it can get. So to get them to start fearing the law, it takes time, and we are 3 years now in the government, and we have started enforcing the law very strictly, but still people find ways to override it. And when buying stops, selling stops too, as one of the panelists rightly said, that when the corrupt people who are evading tax or who cannot show or disclose the incomes properly because they cannot show the source of the income, if they are trying to now stash their black money, they cannot do it in the cash because we successfully ensured that no cash notes can be used for black money because they fear when these notes can be probably banned.
Krishna Sagar Rao, I'm showing you, we are showing you evidence right now of people who are using cash to buy gold, which means that cash is being used.
Exactly.
It is not a victory for any sort of government that you are forcing people to convert the cash into gold, because gold is still being used then. And black money is money that you have not paid tax on, which you continue not to pay tax on. You evaded tax.
You let me. I'll explain that.
Yes, please.
See, the earlier in the great governance of Congress, there were 4 or 5 avenues of holding black. It was real estate, it was gold, it was cash, it was the offshoring, round-tripping process. Now, we are shutting down one after another. Actually, we are shutting down everything together, but the holes are still left in the personal transaction.
Right. No, but I don't understand. Krishna Sagar Rao, what do you mean by you are shutting down one thing? Are you going to shut down the gold market? Are you going to? You've effectively already shut down the real estate market. It's barely moving now. It is barely surviving, and as a result, we've caused large-scale job loss across the country. But hang on, Sujay Kandawala is also with us. He's a senior lawyer. Sujay Kandawala, thank you for joining us. You've been listening in as well. You've heard the sting operation that Aishwarya Paliwal has done, Sujay, proving that black money is still easily available.
See, ultimately, I'll tell you, the businessman, and especially some people dealing in this precious jewelry, gold, diamond, silver, there is a certain amount of cash which is involved, and not certain amount, I would say a lot of cash involved. So even if a jeweler is induced, a jeweler really does not have to be induced. He is always dealt in cash, and cash will always be there. So though government may try its level best, of course it has come down, definitely, but the cash is always going to be there. It's in our DNA, it's in our marrow.
But Sujay, while we might argue that cash is going to continue to be there, what these jewelers are effectively doing is money laundering. It's illegal. If I can convert 30 lakh rupees of cash into jewelry...
I'll tell you the definition of money laundering. Definition of money laundering is putting sale proceeds of a criminal activity as if it's untainted. You see, I can understand something that is procured out of a criminal activity. A criminal activity as recognized by the IPC. Here you have cash. Nobody is sure where this cash came from. It could be agricultural income. It could be any other income. It could be lying in the house. It could be a sale of certain asset. The point which I'm trying to make over here is, one, you have to locate, the government has to locate these, like for example, you had these shell companies, thousands and thousands of shell companies. They're going after them. What the public today needs is figures, transparency. We brought this law and this is the result, what happened out of that. And let me tell you, Indians are used to cash. You know why we Indians, when we are tourists, we go abroad, those muggers, why they first target Indians? Because we always have cash. You see, the point is, we are very comfortable handling cash. It's in our DNA.
Okay, so you're saying it's in our DNA. And I'm going to go back to Ved Jain, who joins us. He's a tax expert. Ved Jain, explain this to us. Sujay is quite right that money laundering is effectively making the proceeds of criminal activity seem like they are not ill-begotten gains. But if I'm willing to take from you 30 lakh rupees, 40 lakh rupees cash without a bill and give you instead gold, which means that I'm not doing my job as a shopkeeper of doing any sort of KYC, of asking for any sort of documentation. I'm not asking for where this money came from. Is it illegal? Is it not illegal, Ved Jain? Are we allowing through this process, or is the system allowing money to be laundered?
See, what we need to understand the transaction in the right perspective first. See, when you go to a jeweler to buy jewelry, the jeweler is entitled to sell the jewelry to the customer. The law as on date says that in case a customer comes to you and wants to make a purchase of rupees 2 lakh or more, then you should have the KYC detail of the customer. You should know his identity. Now, in case one customer comes with say 10 lakh rupees or 15 lakh rupees, and he says, I do not have my KYC detail, etc., and the jeweler or the shopkeeper, in order to not to lose the business, he agrees that yes, he will issue 5 or 6 invoices showing in cash, because you can still make sales of less than rupees 2 lakh in cash, and then he issues different cash memos without disclosing the identity of the person or the customer who has bought it. So the law which has been broken is only that the law today which prohibits making sales of rupees 2 lakh or more in cash. Now, there is no money laundering, as my learned speaker before me or the panelist has clarified. The money laundering comes into operation when you launder the money, when you have a ill-gotten money, when you have a money from the offense, it is a scheduled offense. As I said in the beginning, it is not a scheduled offense to buy jewelry in cash. That's not a scheduled offense, because unless the money from which you have bought the jewelry is an ill-gotten money, of a corruption money or a terrorist money, that's a money.
Checks,
it's an ordinary man which has got a cash. And moreover, it is not also clear whether the cash which is available with the person is an explained cash or unexplained cash.
So to be fair, I understand what both of you are saying, but how is an ordinary citizen going to come up with 30 lakh rupees cash which they want to use right now to buy gold jewelry? Wasn't this the entire purpose of demonetization, to move to a cashless or a less cash system? Now, my only point here is this: if we went through the process of demonetization with the aim to bring down cash,
I do agree.
Yes,
I do agree. Let me explain it. The purpose of demonetization was to make it a cashless economy. It cannot be an economy without a cash. So the question is, the demonetization has definitely affected. Demonetization has made the availability of the cash in different hands difficult. Demonetization has made the cash transaction difficult. That's why these laws are there.
Okay.
But demonetization does not mean that the cash has gone out totally out of the economy. There will be unscrupulous people.
So these are those unscrupulous people. Raghavan is on the phone line.
You cannot get out of the demonetization with all the cash economy.
Right. Raghavan is on the phone line from Chennai. Raghavan joins us right now. Go ahead, Raghavan.
Good evening, ma'am. It's atrocious, actually, to hear this news. Remarkable journalism by you and Aishwarya. Congratulations to you guys, actually, for the standard and quality of journalism that you guys are started stepping in industry.
Thank you.
Madam, blood is boiling. What kind of a society that we have created in the last 65 years? All these people are, my guess is this shop owner might have got some link with some of the party members or the some ruling party or opposition party, and then it's round tripping now in this format. You see, in the whole demonetization exercise, tons of money has come from the party members. Where are they going? It's circulating around this kind of an activity. I think this needs to be stopped. I don't know how to stop it, but its blood is boiling, and you guys have done a wonderful thing, and you need to.
Rajan is also on the phone line. Yes, Rajan is also on the phone line from Mumbai. Rajan, go ahead.
Hello.
Gaurav is also I'm told, is on the phone line from Chennai. Gaurav, go ahead. Gaurav, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, we're going to come back to Gaurav and Rajan, but I understand Shaina NC of the BJP joining us on the phone line right now. Shaina, we've just broken a story here on Mirror Now this evening of jewelry shops in Zaveri Bazaar who are willing to accept cash of up to 30 lakh rupees or maybe even more. 9 out of 10 shops that our reporter Aishwarya visited were willing to take cash without any sort of paper trail. So obviously black money is not just alive, Shaina, it's thriving.
But I want to ask, where is the black money? They may have given a proposal to deal in cash, but where is the physical money? Do understand that if the government has taken a decision to ban, high-value currency, which led to a significant surge in India's tax base over the past year, this is something to also look into. And to back our claim, please do understand there has been a 25% increase in tax returns since April to August 2017 compared to the same period last year. So obviously there is something which is going right. So for those who are suggesting that there is, black money in jewelry or in real estate, I think you need to speak to the entire market and not select shops which are trying to fight the system.
No, but Shaina, my point is that if these people are willing to accept this kind of cash, which means that they are accepting money that obviously people have not paid tax on. Because why else would anyone want to buy jewelry for 30 lakh rupees without a bill or 40 lakh rupees without a bill and without any sort of paper trail unless it was black money, Shaina?
I think you need to prove these allegations, unsubstantiated hearsay or talk ki aap leke aao, hum karke denge, is not something that
this is very interesting, because had we actually taken 30, which I must confess, both Aishwarya and I are salaried professionals, there is no way either of us can have access to that kind of cash, which is ideally the world we should be living in. But if we had done it, then we would have been accused of breaking the law. What we have proven to you is an intent to break the law. I think there's a necessity to actually pay attention to the fact that something is wrong with the system, Shaina.
No, I take your point, Faye, in good spirit. If there are people who are trying to play with the system or who are trying to beat the system, I think they're minuscule and they will be dealt with severely. I'm sure the income tax department is also aware, as are the finance authorities. And as far as the finance ministry is concerned, I think we need to really give it to them to understand the amount of people who have come into the tax bracket of India. This is not some small increase. Like, I was looking at these statistics, and it really made me feel so good. The finance ministry says in 2014-15, there were 74,
Right, we seem to have lost Shaina NC. We'll try and get her back. Sanjay Jha of the Congress joins us right now. The question that we're trying to make, we're asking this evening is, if there are shops, and Aishwarya tells us 9 out of 10 shops that she visited accepted or agreed to accept cash to any amount. They were willing to come home and pick up the cash so that the customer didn't have to travel with large amounts of cash. They said no bill, no PAN card, no Aadhaar, nothing. We will give you a kacha bill and we will give you the quality certificate of the gold that you're buying, but we don't want any other sort of documentation from you. Sanjay Jha, does this make it easier for people who have black money right now to stash it away?
Well, one thing is pretty obvious, that India is still predominantly going to be driven by the cash transaction. I was looking at the latest data today, and they tell you that the digital transactions and the volumes, both the value as well as the volumes, have actually collapsed since perhaps March of 2017. I think end of day, until I think the government recognizes this one reality, that India's informal economy moves on cash. Now, I have been, reading about your gold expose that you have done, and clearly it tells you that the black money racket is in fact beginning to peak. And that's exactly the point that you're making, that because of the fact that end of day, people are going to beat the system, because the system itself, I think, never was clear as to what it was going to do when it had demonetization. It was never meant really to, I would believe that the black money would come to a halt. So, Faye, the bottom line is very simple, that if black money is going to be something that the government cannot obliterate through, steps like demonetization, the only way you can actually solve that problem is to attempt to root it out at where the source of the black money happens. And clearly there, the government has no resolve, no shall we say, commitment to do something about it. Now, why isn't real estate under GST? Simple question. There are no answers. I mean, why is the gold, diamond, jewelry industry, where there are a lot of acquisitions of black money happening, nothing really happens there? What about the export, import, under-invoicing and over-invoicing? Nobody talks about that at all. And the tax havens, well, we have done nothing even on the Panama Papers till today, although, the government keeps saying that they recovered some money. So there are many issues at the source of black money is not being sorted out, and those who are unscrupulous will keep taking advantage of the system. And there is a lot of cash still available, and the cash economy is back with the bank.
Well, I'm being told Shaina NC is back with us on the phone line. Shaina, do you want to respond to what Sanjay Jha said, that the cash economy is back with the bang and demonetization has failed?
Economy is not back with a bang. For those who want to only look at the typical reports that believe well, I think you should go by the one which the finance ministry said. Because in 2014-15, we had 74 taxpayers added. This number actually fell to 63 lakh in 2015-16. And if you look at 2015,
all right, that line is with Shaina NC is a little weak. Let me just bring in Aishwarya Paliwal, is our reporter who broke this story for us. Aishwarya is in the studio with me. Aishwarya, when you walked into these stores, Shaina NC very interestingly said that where is the evidence, where is the cash that exchanged hands? Obviously, neither you nor I have 40 lakh rupees in cash. We're both salaried professionals. But was there any sort of feeling at all across these shops that what they were doing was illegal? Was there whispering, or was it just out in the open that, of course, we'll take the money, whatever you have, we'll take?
No, Faye, there was no whispering. So the moment you enter a jewelry shop, and if there's anyone who has gone out to buy jewelry, you will know that you don't buy jewelry, in 5 minutes. You spend some amount of time with the shopkeeper, you look at the pieces, and then you decide onto certain pieces that you would like to purchase. So this is exactly what I did. I went inside, I looked at a few pieces. I told them that there were 3 or 4 pieces which I liked. I told them my budget. And after that, I asked them that I need to make a payment in cash. It was all out there in the open. They did not whisper amongst they did not whisper. They did not say anything. Out in the open, they said, "Madam, agar aapko cash mein dena hai, to chalega. You tell me how much your budget is." I told them my budget right now is 15, but it could go up because I'm purchasing
15 lakh rupees.
15 lakh rupees. It could go up because there could be others who would want to buy from my family. To this, they said, "We don't have a problem. Do you want a bill or you don't want a bill? That depends on you." I did not force them for anything. I did not ask them that you ask me whether I should pay in
so let me take
credit
this. Let me take this point back to Mr. Ved Jain, who's our tax expert, who's with us right now. I understand for a couple of minutes. Mr. Ved Jain, last question before I let you go. If the jeweler says, आपको क्या चाहिए, बिल के साथ चाहिए, बिना बिल के साथ चाहिए, कैश से चाहिए, या कार्ड से चाहिए, how would you interpret that question? And we're not talking about the culpability of the jeweler here in question. I'm talking about the system, the fact that this is the system that's currently in play, Mr. Jain.
See, as I said earlier, the issue in this case is the society and the structure as on date. See, what we are trying to get an answer from a demonetization is that post 8 November 2016, all problems of the society regarding this cash transaction get resolved and solved. I believe that is too much to expect from the demonetization. Demonetization was one of the process to address this issue of a black money. Demonetization was one of the issue to address the cash economy. I believe in the period of 1 year, I think we all agree, though there are many politicians from the different political party on the panel today making different type of arguments and observation. But the fact remains is that yes, demonetization to a limited extent has addressed the issue, and that is why one of the reasons that your Aishwarya also went to find out what is the effect of. And now with more and more awareness is being created, yes, transaction in cash are not good transaction. These are really bad transactions. These are illegal transactions. See, a year before, nobody was asking about any cash transaction in jewelry business. I believe the transaction will be much more larger in numbers, larger in amounts also. Now, as you see the 30 lakh, 40 lakh rupees, even we are all concerned, even Aishwarya is concerned, even you are concerned why these transactions are happening. Why we are concerned today, we were not concerned 1 year before.
We are concerned, Mr. Vaidjan. We are concerned because this entire country stood in line, because this entire country made massive sacrifices, because the country has lost jobs, we've lost opportunities, we've lost business, we've lost time, we've lost lives. And as a result, that is why we are concerned. So if you're wondering why is Aishwarya now concerned about the cash economy, this is why we're concerned. Because we want to understand, has all of that pain, and remember the government repeatedly promised us that short-term pain for long-term gain. Where is the long-term gain? We want to see evidence of long-term gain, which is why we are all concerned. And I understand right now, Ijaz Elmi of the BJP is with us right now on the phone line. Dr. Elmi, thank you for joining us. This is our news break for this evening on Mirror Now. Okay, he's not with us anymore. Sanjay Jha, you want to respond to what Mr. Vaidjan was saying, Sanjay Jha?
Faye, let me tell you that Mr. Jain is obviously an extremely optimistic individual, but when the government says long-term, well, we are 1 year down the line. 1 year is, in modern times, far more than the long-term. And clearly there are no dividends. And the truth is that demonetization has been a monumental and mammoth disaster for the Indian economy, because there have been no gains at all. Where is the black money? The answer is that the government has no answer, because there was no black money at all that surfaced. Number two, did it create jobs? I think Dr. Manmohan Singh, in an interview yesterday to one of the finance channels, said the damage it has done to India's income inequality might take a long time to actually resolve itself. And he says, by the way, this is not just an economic cost India is paying. India is actually paying a social cost, and this is nothing short of an economic catastrophe. Now, when Dr. Manmohan Singh says that, then I think we have to be a little dispassionate in looking at what the observations are. And therefore, demonetization has been a terrible failure. And GST, for example, is a good law, terribly implemented, but demonetization has nothing positive about it. So when the government said, you know what, it's a great thing, but, you know, end of the day it has been badly implemented, I think the point is it was never a good thing. It's been an extremely ill-conceived idea. I think it was done on an abrupt decision of the PMO, and I think India has paid the consequences.
Well, I just want to, for those of our viewers who are just joining us, our reporter Aishwarya Paliwal went to Zaveri Bazaar in Mumbai under the pretext of buying jewelry for 15 lakh rupees in cash. Cash, of course, which she didn't personally have. She said, I will pay 15 lakh rupees, but I have it in cash. And 9 out of 10 jewelers were willing to make that transaction happen. Some of them were willing to, in fact, pick up the cash from her house and drop off the jewelry themselves, because they didn't want her traveling with such large amounts of money. Take a look at some of the clips from Aishwarya's expose today.
मुझे एक बात और पूछनी थी आपसे। ये तो मेरा बजट है, but I want to pay in cash.
होता है सर, ज्वेलरी में गोल्ड में कहाँ अभी वो तो नो प्रॉब्लम.
Even if it goes to 20 lakhs?
Yeah, no problem.
And I don't want to bill. Is it okay?
No GST.
किसका? ये 2000 में ही बोल रहे हो उनका, उनसे बात कर रही हूँ।
Anything I'll have to give from my side? Nothing.
Some people they insist because they make bill on that, you know. Because what happens, you go to this some shops like Demonetisation and all that, so they don't sell without bill. That's why they asked a card and all that.
Okay, that is the reason.
Because the bosses are sitting not in the shop, so all the staffs are sitting, so they cannot sell without bill. So because if staff is weighing the gold and she's selling or he's selling, so how do the boss knows what amount came? Right. Suppose you pay 14, you say the client will pay 14, 10. So that's why they make a bill. That guy is sitting at Nariman Point. Shop is here. Shop is at Bandra. Even this, chain stores and all that, they do all this. So they don't sell without bill. So you lose GST and you pay a card and then you come the light picture, that we are paying so much gold. Even in this marriage expenses, with cash, you have to do it. Otherwise, there also they'll ask this numbers and all that, PAN card and now, what do you call that? GST number.
Well, that's the story this evening on Mirror Now, that you can buy jewelry to any amount of money, no GST, no PAN card, no paper trail, no bill whatsoever. I understand Ijaz Ilmi is back on the phone line with us. Dr. Ilmi, thank you for joining us. Was demonetization then a futile exercise if cash is not just surviving but is thriving in the jewelry market? Right. I have Aishwarya Paliwal with me as well. Aishwarya is the reporter who broke this story. Aishwarya, this was obviously an important story to actually do in the run-up to demonetization. But I want you to sort of explain to us, when you walked into each of these jewelry stores, and the fact that, and we just heard one of them say, yes, the bigger chains will never take cash from you, but we can. Why is it that they believe that they can? Why do they believe that they're not required to follow any of the taxation laws?
Yeah, I think the reason why they think that bigger chains will never do this and they can do this is because they think that they are very small, in the whole chain of events. This is the sense that I got amongst all the shopkeepers. They did not have very fancy stores, and they said that the reason why they do not ask customers also is because they want to remain anonymous. They said, we want to remain anonymous, we want you to remain anonymous. And that's what two of the shopkeepers told me, that if your concern is that your name should not be highlighted, then your name will not be highlighted. We will not give you a bill. The reason why we will not leave any trail behind is because we don't want, quote unquote, the tax authorities to come to your doorstep knocking and asking you how could you buy gold or how could you buy jewelry worth so many crore rupees or so many lakh rupees. Now, the reason why they all put emphasis on no bill was because they think that they are very small and they do not want customers who come to them to have a trail behind. And perhaps that's the reason why they said that, lakhs and lakhs of rupees you can come and give me and I'll not give you any bill.
All right, we have to take a quick break here on Mirror Now, but this is the story that we're focusing on this evening on Mirror Now. The fact that you can go out and buy jewelry for cash without GST, without giving your PAN card, without giving your Aadhaar card, without any sort of bill or paper trail, which means that if someone right now has copious amounts of cash with them, they can get rid of it very, very easily at a jewelry shop. And this is just one example. We're receiving messages on Facebook and Twitter from our viewers telling us that there are several places right now where you can still pay cash and get away with it. If that is really the truth, then why did we go through the entire process of demonetization, and what was the benefit of all of that short-term pain that should have led to large-term or long-term gain? Our phone lines are going to remain open through this evening. You can pick up the phone and call us on this story and speak to either me or Aishwarya and tell us what you think, because really demonetization or any other government policy is about you. It's about you as a citizen and what you have to go through, what you went through, and what you expected the returns to be. Stay with Mirror Now for more news and updates. This is our big story that we're breaking this evening on the channel.